Hey guys, welcome to the Explanation Pro. In this video, I am going to talk about the 2020 war drama film, Persian Lessons. As usual, there will be spoilers ahead, so take them with a grain of salt and let's get started. The movie is set in 1942 during Second World War. We see a few Jewish people in the back of a truck. They are trying to leave Germany, but the German soldiers capture them and take them to the concentration camp to kill them. The men start talking while going to the concentration camp. One of them is Gillies. The other man asks Gillies if he has anything to eat. Gillies says that he has a sandwich but refuses to give it to him. The man offers him a Persian book in exchange for the food. He says that the book belonged to his house owners. Gillies says that he does not know Persian and the book is of no use to him. The man tries to convince Gillies. Gillies finally accepts and exchanges the sandwich for the Persian book. After traveling for a while, they take these Jewish men to the forest. The German soldiers shoot them one by one. But Giles falls on the floor before they shoot him and starts crying. He lies that he is not Jewish and says that he is Persian. He shows the Persian book that the man gave him. The soldiers are somehow convinced and take him to the higher officials. They take Gillies to the coach who is shouting at a female officer. They tell that Gillies claims that he is Persian. But the coach is suspicious. He takes the Persian book and asks him if he is Persian again. Giles answers that he is half Persian as his mother is Belgian and his father is Persian. But the coach is still suspicious. He asks him to translate the word mother. Gillies makes up some random word and tells the coach as he does not know Persian at all and neither do the other men in the room. The coach asks him to read a few lines from the book, but Gillies says that he cannot read or write Persian. He can only speak in Persian. The coach asks him to say a couple of sentences and Gillies makes up a few lines. The coach gets happy after listening to him speak Persian. But he still suspects him and says that he does not like liars. The coach says that he will punish Gillies if something goes wrong. The coach is searching for a Persian for a while now as he wants to learn the language. He is happy that he finally met Gillies. He appoints Gillies to work in the kitchen during the day. He orders Gillies to tack him Persian in the evenings after his work in the kitchen is done. Gillies is scared as he does not really know Persian. He goes to the kitchen and sees a female officer who is very angry. Her name is Elsa. She is shouting at all the workers. She seems cruel and she shoots the people who make any mistake during cooking. We see a German officer named Max. He tries to talk to Elsa as he likes her, but she does not really care about him. Then, Max sees Gillies. He tells Elsa that Gillies is fake and he is not really a Persian. Meanwhile, Gillies is in the kitchen doing some work. He is trying to memorize the words he made up earlier that day. It is difficult for him to remember those words as he made them up and there is a chance for him to forget the meanings he associated with them. While working in the kitchen, he gives some random words to the items in there. He makes a lot of effort to memorize those words. In the evening, he goes to the coach. The coach is very excited to learn Persian. He says that he wants to open a German restaurant in another country after the war ends, therefore it is important for him to learn Persian. Gillies hopes that the coach who changes his mind and he remains alive. But the coach has a plan. He says that he wants to learn 4 words every day and this will continue for 2 years as he expects the war to last for 2 more years. Gillies is scared as it is difficult for him to make fake words. And, on top of making fake words, he should remember their meanings too. The coach also tells Gillies that he always wanted to be a chef. He worked hard to become a 5-star chef, but he is stuck here due to the war. He tells about how he always dreamt of going somewhere else to open a restaurant and live a simple, happy life. Max goes to the coach and tries to tell him that Gillies is Jewish. But the coach does not believe him. Meanwhile, Elsa is having a chat with the coach. They are supposed to make a register with the names of all the Jewish prisoners. But the coach removes her from the position as he does not understand Elsa's handwriting. He wants to give this work to Gillies. Elsa is angry because she is removed from the work. She removes her anger by torturing an innocent lady prisoner working in the kitchen. She brutally burns her hand. Max and Elsa have a conversation while eating where she tells him that the coach dismissed her from writing the prisoner logs. She says that the coach gave the job to the Persian. Max tries to tell her that he is not a Persian. Later, the coach calls Gillies to his office and gives him a huge list of words. He asks him to get the translation of the words by the evening. He also tells Gillies that he should not use a pencil and should only use a pen. Gillies is very scared and does not know what to do. He barely memorizes 4 words every day, but now there are a lot of words for him to memorize. He plans to run away. Later that evening, he goes into the forest to get rid of the trash. The place looks isolated and he runs away into the forest and tries to escape. But he sees a man in the forest. He says that the Germans will not leave him no matter where he goes. Gillies decides to face the evening and goes back to the camp. That evening, the coach gives him the work to rewrite the names of the Jewish prisoners neatly in another book. He notices that a few names are crossed, and that is because those people died on the way to the camp. As soon as the coach leaves, Gillies takes the list of words he is supposed to translate. He suddenly gets the idea to use the names of those Jewish prisoners to make new words. Gillies mixes the letters of the names of the Jewish prisoners and makes up words and writes them on the paper that the coach gave him. The coach comes in and takes the paper. He asks him to translate those words. Luckily, as he is in front of the names, he is able to tell the right word. The coach is happy and leaves him. Later, the German officer has a picnic. They order Gillies to make tomato soup for all the German officers. While serving it, the coach approaches Gillies and asks him to translate trees. Gillies uses a random word that he previously used for something else. The coach thinks that he is lying and beats him in front of everyone. But Gillies tells the coach that there are 2 meanings for a few words in Persian, and the coach is suspicious and removes Gillies from the kitchen work. Instead, he sends Gillies to work near the rocks and mountains. Gillies' body is not supporting him to work there. He is getting tired very easily. Gillies somehow manages to get through that day. But he is sent to the same place the next day. Gillies is not feeling well. His body is weak and gets unconscious while hitting a rock. Max sends a Jewish prisoner to take Gillies to the hospital. Gillies keeps murmuring in his sleep. He is still memorizing the made-up Persian words. The coach comes to see him, but he is still unconscious and is now repeatedly memorizing the made-up word which he translates to mother. The coach thinks that Gillies is genuine as he is remembering his mother in his sleep. He leaves the hospital. When Gillies gets better, the doctor comes to talk to him. He tells Gillies that is speaking something in his sleep. Gillies tells the doctor that is Persian, but he made that up. The doctor tells that the coach came to visit earlier and that he offered good and nutritious food to him. Gillies meets the coach after returning. The coach apologizes to Gillies for suspecting him. He makes him the in charge of the kitchen and sends him to the farm. Gillies gets to know about the execution that is supposed to happen in Poland and asks the coach about it. The coach tells that he has no details about it. Gillies finds it difficult to make more words. He serves soup to the Jewish prisoners. He asks them their name and memorizes them and makes up words. He continues to teach the coach the new words and he is learning them. Gillies takes a test to check how much the coach learned and he did pretty well. But he still does not know that this is a made-up language. Instead, he tells Gillies that he finds Persian beautiful. Lantern Gillies sees that a few Jewish prisoners are being killed for making small mistakes while working. He sees that a couple of Jewish men are suffering from a small mistake. He feels bad for himself. He considers himself a coward who is living in a lie. He feels it may be better to die than to live a life like a coward. The coach calls him that afternoon. He calls Gillies to show him a poem that he wrote in Persian. Gillies likes the poem and appreciates the coach. The coach asks Gillies not to call him sir and to call him by his name. The coach generally offers Gillies good food, which is better than the food his fellow prisoners are having. But today, Gillies does not feel like eating. He wants to give the food to his Jewish friends who were hurt back at the prison. The coach tells him to have the meal and tells him that the other prisoners are getting food too. He refuses and goes back to his prison with the food. He gives the food to the 2 men he saw earlier that day. Later that night, a few Jewish members were brought in. One of them is actually Persian. Max, who always hated Gillies, thinks that this is the right opportunity to show who Gillies truly is. He gets the Persian man. He goes to meet Gillies and tells him that he found a true Persian and that he is going to be punished when the coach gets to know the truth. Gillies is scared and goes along with Max to see the Persian, but he is scared. But, by the time they reach the cell, the Persian man is found dead. Max accuses Gillies of killing him as there is a chance for him to be killed. But Gillies is innocent. Max starts beating Giles. Then, Gillies' friend enters and beats Max. He says that he is the one who killed the actual Persian. Soon after that, Max kills Gillies' friend and Gilly is sad and angry. Gillies gets to know that they are taking the Jewish prisoners to another camp to kill them, and the dead man's brother is one of the. He talks to him and changes his coat so that they will not recognize him. He tries to get out of there like the dead man's brother, but one of the officers recognizes him and tells the coach. The coach immediately goes to find Gillies and saves him. He says that Gillies is a fool and that he should not give his life away for another person. Gillies says that Jewish people are humans too and that they should have respect for the. Meanwhile, America attacks Germany as these are the last few days of World War II. The coach gets Gillies and is trying to get him out of there. Max, who already hates Gillies, sees this and tries to stop them, but they already passed the security gate. Max goes to the higher officials and tries to tell them this, but they do not listen as they are busily burning the records of the dead Jewish men that Gillies was writing about earlier. The coach takes Gillies to the entrance of a forest and tells him that a plane is waiting for him outside the forest and he is going to leave for Istanbul. He tells that he kept his word by saving Gillies. Later, we see that the coach is trying to get through security with the fake Persian, but the security does not understand anything and is arresting him. At the same time, Gillies is in America at a rescue camp where they are questioning him if he knows any names of the dead Jewish people. As he uses their names to make up words, he remembers almost all the names. He starts telling them the names and a lady notes them down. The people around them are surprised as he remembers all those names. The story ends there. That's all for today's video, and thanks for watching it. If you like it, make sure you give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Also, let me know in the comments below which movie you want me to cover in the next video. Until next time, take care and stay tuned.